Bug.
Look at him. Her, probably. Big pincers. Sharp legs. I don't think it knew what it was doing because it was kind of froze up. I was hoping it would bite the stick, but it didn't. Anyway, the Mini. This is in need of some stuff. First being the clutch. If you've seen a previous video I've made, the clutch had been eaten by a mouse. It had eaten through a little rubber dust cap, so it had seized solid. That's the damage. It's fine. Installed a new one. It wasn't actually that difficult. It's nice being outside of the bell housing for once. And I managed to bleed it first time. I used a solo bleeding kit, which there's a bleed nipple on the back, which you can't quite see. And then you just kind of pump the pedal a couple times, well, quite a lot, and air comes out, and it's great. So that evening, I went down, wanted to make sure that everything was still actually working and nothing had been stolen, not that it would have been. So first thing I tried doing was taking off this little pipe, and sucking some fuel through to then get it into the carb and then to get that to work. But considering my past mistakes, I thought first to unlock the really seized fuel cap and see if there's any fuel inside, and it turned out there was. So I thought it's fine. Tried starting it, and
The battery was dead.
So I packed up for the day and got this epic shot. Sorry, this epic shot. And then died. After being resurrected, we went out and got a new battery, and it started up really fast, which I'm quite pleased with. So now it could move, especially with the new clutch. So moved it up top and had a look around. Now it was in a bit better of a kind of position to be looked at. It's exactly how I remember it. Still covered in rust and full of junk and all. Drives fine, I think. I haven't had the space to drive it like fast or anything, but it seems to be driving fine. And has all the same characteristics as I remember it. Yeah, there's quite a bit of rust. I think it's gotten worse.
Snail.
But that isn't actually that big a deal. We have a welder and can put it all back to how it was. So yeah, took it up a bit higher and gave it a nice clean. Especially the wheels are quite satisfying because they're pretty sick wheels and all. And it's probably because of the rain. It splashed some dirt on them, so cleaning them off was very nice. So it being clean now at least means that I don't get covered in crap when I'm working on it and stuff, and it looks a bit nicer. And it also helped me uncover some more rust. Thankfully, we have a solution to it getting wet.
Anyway, today we managed to kind of convince somebody that one of their polytunnels that had no poly was actually surplus to requirement and just getting in the way, so they said we should take it home. So we have, and we've put Fred's Mini under the polytunnel, and then at some point over the next day or two we'll rig up the tarp a bit better, and then he's got a covered, aerated or ventilated workshop. Yes, and all that kind of stuff, and then we can get that funny little car running again. Cool.
So, not that it is raining, because it's quite nice. It's quite sunny at the moment. But when this car gets wet, water comes in because some of the window seals are broken. So having it under the tunnel will keep it from getting wet and also give me some shade and also some cover when it is raining. And I decided to work on it. So jacked it up incorrectly and then jacked it up correctly, so I could get under it. It's not too bad. Some of it isn't great. Some of the rust is really bad in mainly body panels and stuff, not subframe. But yeah, everything is still functional and working, but it just looks a bit under the weather, including the diff and all. You see that other wheel spinning over there. So yeah, thought best idea, clean it up first. Also, because they were off, I decided to clean the spacers and the brake drums, which made them look lots nicer, actually. Covered in horrible dust, which I should have probably worn gloves and a gas mask for, but that's fine. Also, cleaning it, found a bit more substantial rust, which I had lots of fun removing. There's also some other bits. This is the gear selector, which I'm not entirely sure if it's supposed to move that much, but it still goes into gear quite nicely. No great issues, and it doesn't sound weird, so it probably just needs a bit of a clean up and look after. So getting past all of that, it was time to start actually doing work. I didn't quite know where to start on it. I was thinking, oh, I'll just replace the cone suspension and the ball joints, and then it'll be fine. But then I was told that it's probably a good idea to take the entire subframe off. So that's what I did. So first starts with the shock absorbers and those ball joint, the tie end rods, pardon me. And then I could start taking it apart. The first engine component to leave was the exhaust pipe. It's a shame I didn't get the footage of it actually falling off, because it was a very satisfying sound. And then I took it out from under it, which was a pain in the bum, because it's just weird. Next logical step that I saw was taking out the remote gearbox changer thing. It's just a stick with some bars attached to it, which makes it so it can move. So yeah, managed to pry open some of the very old putty and then get the boot off. And then I had access to the top of the remote gear selector. Don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it. And then just popped it out. Come on. So, having it out, I gave it a nice clean up, which was very nice. I do quite like these wire brush drills. They're very satisfying to use. And then I greased it up, made it a bit nicer. Then went on to the wiring and some of the throttle cable and all that. This didn't work. It just span with it, and I got really annoyed. And then, yeah, connections and stuff. Chicken. Had a look, making sure I was doing everything right, which was very kind of them to do. Now, I intend to redo the entire brake lines because they're not in the greatest of shape. Although this one kept leaking when it came off, and it was annoying. So yeah, undid the brake lines, and then an engine mount, so the engine could move. It was wobbling, that little bar sticking out to the left, that's what it was. Yeah, pretty much ready to take it out. Turned out I forgot some wiring around the front. Oh yeah, and the oil pressure thing, which I was worried was going to be a really complicated thing to get off, but it wasn't. It was just a bolt. So jacking the car down was a bit of a mission, especially because the jack got stuck because of all of that wood that was on top of it, because the jack is broken. But I managed very safely to to get it off. ended up actually working, which I was... And not killing me, which is also great. So now the subframe was being supported by the pallet. It was time to actually start taking out the bolts that hold the subframe on, including the ones in the cab.
Which were giving me some problems.
So yeah, chopped them out, and then it was ready to kind of lift the car off the subframe. There are pretty much two techniques to taking the subframe out. It's either dropping the subframe out of the car or lifting the subframe. Lifting the body off the subframe. I chose the latter because I don't know, it just seemed a bit easier. But it's quite tight, so I had to make up a thing to push the subframe, or the front of the subframe, up to then give me enough space to lift it out without colliding with anything. Yeah, steady progress. One of my hang-ups though was that I forgot to take the clips of a wire, as you can see there, off, which is kind of annoying, so I just cut it, which is fine. Yeah, it was jacked up enough to slide the engine out.
So, July the election day 2024, and whilst we wait for the Tories to disappear, preferably forever, Fred has, well, he's done that to the Mini. Look, it's pulling the world's biggest wheelie without any wheels on it and so on. So the subframe engine and all that good stuff is down here, and the general idea is we're going to move this thing this way and then put the car back down where it should be. This might go wrong, hopefully it doesn't. We shall see. Yeah, well done, sir. Indubitably. So, a surprisingly short and uneventful time later, the engine pack and thing is out from the car, and now Fred's underneath it in his new little climbing frame. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Apparently this is where the fun starts. Anyway, there you go. So, engineer a car. Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-da, doo-da. Hope we get away with it. Doo-da, doo-da, ray.
Ho! There it is. The subframe is out, and stuff can happen to it now. It can be cleaned. I can get access to the brake lines, redo them, make them nice, and probably paint the inside with anti-rust stuff. There you go. That's how you do it.